although it has already been touched on, just for the sake of clarity, the zodiac is a circle, and like other circles, there are 360 degrees in that circle. The 12 signs of the zodiac are a division of that 360-degree circle into 12 equal portions of 30 degrees each. Each one of the 360 degrees are divided into 60 minutes. So this has nothing to do with time. These are simply 60ths of 1 degree of the circle. And each one of those are also, each minute is divided into 60 seconds. In practice, we could pretty much ignore the seconds, and you'll find that fairly rarely only in astrological birth charts will planets be calculated down to the second. Having a planet's position to the degree and minute is in itself a very, very precise and specific level of accuracy, and suffices for our purposes. Very often working simply with the nearest degree is actually quite adequate. Now, the groupings of the signs. This is one of the most important aspects of this course, because the groupings of the signs enable us to spot some of the most important geometric connections between planets in a birth chart quite quickly. If we know these groupings very well, we can easily work with aspects. So any amount of effort you put into familiarizing yourself with these groupings will be really valuable. It will make working with aspects, which is a really important part of astrology, a lot easier. So the first grouping, and probably the most well-known one, is the division of the 12 signs into the 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. The fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And, you know, fire signs are supposed to be quite energetic. You know, fire as an element represents a type of spontaneity. Fire is lively. It's if we're going to try and translate it into descriptions of human temperament, it represents an enthusiastic quality. It could be described as emotional, but not in the sense of being sensitive and emotional, more like being passionate, perhaps, and inspired, enthused. So fire is a very free element. You know, there's a lot of honesty and authenticity in fire. It's just it's very open and direct. Fire doesn't conceal things. It actually, if anything, reveals them. It creates light. The earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And the earth element, as one would assume, is associated with things that are practical, things that are quite concrete. And the earth element is very solid and, I suppose, very gradual. It can provide a foundation, but it can also represent some inertia. The air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And the air element is typically associated with communication. Gemini, for example, is the sign that's fascinated by lingo and likes bouncing ideas off other people, and is very curious about everything. So the air element also is associated with a mental focus, or a mental way of doing things. Libra is about partnership, and Aquarius is about group cohesion, group values, group communication. So there's a strong social and communicative quality to the air element. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, these are the water signs. And water is associated with sensitivity, with feeling. I suppose what you would call emotion, except that it's not usually the type of lively, fiery emotion. It's more about sensitivity and receptivity. You see, the earth and the water signs are drawn here in green, which is a cool color. It's a feminine quality. The earth and water signs are feminine, whereas the fire and air signs are masculine. So the water and earth signs tend to be relatively more introverted, and the fire and air signs are more open and active. Sometimes they call the earth and water signs, or the feminine signs, night signs, and the fire and air signs day signs. All right, now you can see that the signs are divided into masculine and feminine, and you can see how this forms two hexagons. Now, from Aries, for example, in the middle of Aries, as it's put here, to the middle of Leo, that would be 120 degrees. From the middle of Aries to the middle of Taurus is 30. From the middle of Taurus to the middle of Gemini, that becomes 60. From the middle of Gemini to the middle of Cancer, it becomes 90 from the middle of Aries. And then from the middle of Aries to Leo becomes 120. So 120 times 3 equals 360. Okay, so that is a third of a circle. we call it a trine. Signs of the same element form what we call a trine aspect. Now, half of a trine is what you call a sextile. That's 60 times 6. So you can see here that these hexagons are, they reflect both the 120 and the 60-degree angles. And so that these two, the sextile and the trine, are like a family of aspects. A sextile is half a trine. They have similar qualities. Here in this diagram, we've got all of these different connections all put together. You can see, if you get your eyes to focus first on the red, then on the green, how you'll have these different hexagons coming in and out of focus. Okay, now we had 4 elements, and there were 3 of each. Now we've got 3 crosses or quadruplicities, and there are 4 in each. We have Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, which are the cardinal signs. And I've linked them here in red just to suggest their relative dynamism compared to the other signs. They're the initiating or leading signs. Then we have the fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Like the word fixed implies, they hold on to things. The cardinal signs initiate action. The fixed signs maintain the momentum. The mutable signs disperse it: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. Like the word mutable implies, they're changeable. Now you can see, if we take, for example, the cardinal cross here, which is shown as the red lines, that we have two 180-degree angles from Aries to Libra and from Capricorn to Cancer are 180-degree angles. So it's 180 multiplied by 2 is 360. Then we have from Aries to Cancer is 90. From Cancer to Libra is 90. From Libra to Capricorn is 90. From Capricorn to Aries is also 90. So we have 90 times 4. Okay, the 180-degree angle is known as the opposition. The 90 is known as the square. So these angles I've shown you, the sextile, the trine, the opposition, and the square, these are the most important aspects. There are others too, but these are the most powerful. And they're often literally called the major aspects. Something to note, again, let's just take the cardinal signs. We have Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. These are all the cardinal signs. Now, Aries is the fire sign of the cardinal signs. Cancer is the water sign of the cardinal signs. Libra is the air sign of the cardinal signs, and Capricorn is the earth sign. So Aries is cardinal fire, Cancer is cardinal water, Libra is cardinal air, Capricorn is cardinal earth. Then we've got the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo. Taurus is fixed earth, Leo is fixed fire, Scorpio is fixed water, Aquarius is fixed air. Likewise with the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Gemini is mutable air, Virgo is mutable earth, Sagittarius is mutable fire, Pisces is mutable water. So likewise with the elements. You have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, for example. Those are the fire signs. Aries is cardinal fire. Leo is fixed fire. Sagittarius is mutable fire. The earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Taurus is fixed earth, Virgo is mutable earth, Capricorn is cardinal earth. So these groups of 3 and 4, these 4 groups of 3 and 3 groups of 4 are kind of interwoven. So you only have one combination of cross and element. There's only one cardinal fire sign, only one fixed earth sign, only one mutable air sign, and so on. And signs get their meanings largely from these different groupings that they belong to. So if you want to know what a sign means, ask yourself, what element does it belong to? Which gender is that element? Is it a masculine or feminine element? And which cross does it belong to? And which planet rules it? There you have the basic keys to the meaning of every sign. All right, now every planet rules one or more signs, and this relationship between the planets and the signs is important. It tells you something about the planets and it tells you something about the signs. In this Vedic astrology book I have, they refer to what they call a teaching tale, which is just one way of presenting this information in a nice sort of easy on the ear way, which also conveys some things about the attributes of the planets. First, there was the king and queen of heaven, the sun and moon, that reigned from the constellations of Leo and Cancer, respectively. Then one day, remember the sun rules the day, Mercury, the great negotiator, approached the sun and asked if there was any land in the zodiac for him. The sun, being naturally generous and righteous, said, "Sure, you can have Virgo next to me." But Mercury is a dual planet, always speaking with a forked tongue. So he waited till night, because the moon rules the night. And then he approached the moon and said, "O Queen, the sun has given me land in the zodiac. Surely you're not going to be outdone." The moon, always trying to reflect the processes of the sun, said, "Oh well, if you put it that way, you can have Gemini next to me." Venus thought it would be really sweet to get some land in the zodiac for herself too, and she batted her eyelids at the sun, who yielded Libra to her. She saw that Mercury had managed to get land from the moon also, and approached her sister moon and convinced her to yield Taurus. Mars heard that he'd been left out of this real estate party and threatened the sun with dire consequences if he wasn't given his dues. The sun yielded Scorpio to Mars. Mars approached the moon, who, quivering, didn't hesitate to offer up Aries. Jupiter felt it would only be just to get his share of the abundance, and convincingly presented his case to the sun, and he was given Sagittarius. The caring moon felt that Jupiter deserved something from her too, and that way he got Pisces. Now Saturn is quite slow, always the last to know. Saturn got what was left. Capricorn and Aquarius. Now you will see that the planets here are found in the same sequence on either side of the sun and moon. It's Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. You know, the sun and moon are associated with the left and right hand side of the body, and here we have after them the planets found in the sequence we find them in the solar system: Mercury, then Venus, then Mars, then Jupiter, then Saturn. What also happens here in this traditional scheme is that Saturn is always opposite the lights, the sun and moon. You know, Saturn represents what is dark and cold. Mercury and Jupiter also always rule signs opposite each other. Mercury is a small planet associated with detailed analysis. Jupiter is a big planet associated with broad understanding. Mars and Venus, love and war, boy and girl, are also always opposite each other on this rulership wheel. Now, these are the 7 ancient planets before the outer planets were discovered, distributed amongst the 12 signs. You see the sun and moon being sort of super planets, rule 1 sign each, and each of the other planets rule 2 signs, and each of the other planets rule 1 masculine and 1 feminine sign. You'll see that Mercury rules the masculine sign Gemini and the feminine sign Virgo. Venus rules the masculine Libra and feminine Taurus. Mars rules masculine Aries, feminine Scorpio. Jupiter rules masculine Sagittarius and feminine Pisces. Saturn rules feminine Capricorn and masculine Sagittarius. So as you can see, there's a very symmetrical arrangement here, a very beautifully orderly traditional scheme. And in modern times, Uranus was discovered, and modern astrologers sometimes associate it with Aquarius. They also associate Neptune with Pisces and Pluto with Scorpio. The more and more modern astrologers are actually reverting back to a focus on this traditional rulership scheme. And this is as it should be. If you are going to consider these outer planet rulerships or associations, that is very much an afterthought and also far from universally accepted as the appropriate approach.